The country's power supply remains constrained. Eskom is now implementing stage 1 of load shedding across the country until 9 p.m. this evening. This is after Eskom employees allegedly ignored a court interdict barring 3 unions from protest action. The order follows a day of protests and load shedding across the country. Let's go to the Eastern Cape now, where the government there and its counterparts from Zhejiang province in China have signed a number of memorandums of understanding in Port Elizabeth this morning. The delegation is in South Africa to survey the business and investment environment and explore cooperation and business opportunities between Zhejiang and South Africa. The Chinese delegation is led by the party secretary of the Provincial Committee of the Communist Party of China, and they're being hosted by the Premier of the Eastern Cape, Phumulo Masualle. For more on the story, across to our reporter, Jade Lee-Paulser. Jade, good afternoon. Do you have an idea of the type of opportunities that are being explored in these discussions?
Good afternoon. Yes, I am coming to you live from Nelson Mandela University. Earlier on, we were at the boardwalk here in Nelson Mandela Bay, where you correctly said that the Chinese delegation has met with the government, several dignitaries, just to discuss and explore those opportunities within the Eastern Cape and within South Africa. They signed a memorandum of understanding with the Chinese delegation, looking at opportunities within agriculture, looking at opportunities that will create employment for South Africa, but as well as an exchange of ideas between the two countries. As you know, the bilateral agreement has, or rather this year marks the bilateral agreement of China and South Africa's 20 years. So it really is just honing in on those investment opportunities between both countries. And it's also a very exciting time for the Eastern Cape, because this morning we heard that there will be a bovine exchange. So the Eastern Cape will be exporting beef to China, and that will be a local company here within Markman in Nelson Mandela Bay, and they will be exporting beef. So it's going to be great opportunities and investment between the two countries. But I am joined by the Premier of the Eastern Cape, Phumulo Masualle, who's going to be talking about that MOU signing and those 6 topics that they've went through, which is the friendship cooperation, the bovine cooperation, as well as business cooperation. Thank you for joining us, Premier, and taking the time to speak to the SABC. Just looking at that MOU, what can you tell us about the agreement signed with the Chinese delegation, and what can we look forward to in terms of the partnership between the two countries?
Now, firstly, let me say that we're really building on a relationship we've had. We have improvised, and we're looking to scale it up in terms of areas of cooperation. Right now, we're here at the university. We're looking at the university partnering with some of the universities in Zhejiang province, particularly where we had seen that they have this working collaboration with the industries being part of particularly the vocational training institutions. We're looking to see if that model, we cannot bring it here, so that we go over this thing where we've got our youth who, with qualifications out of either the technicons or universities, can't find work. We've got to have them out of university, out of those institutions, right into work, because of the collaboration between industry as well as the universities, so to speak. Here we're exploring that. But in the morning, we've dealt with the issues, particularly business to business. We had more than 40 companies from Zhejiang province that were here to have exchanges, engagements with local businesses to look at further areas of investment possibilities here in the province. The province is, of course, endowed with magnificent tourism. We're looking at also how we could bring the tourists from China, particularly Zhejiang, into our province to exploit and experience the beauty that we have here. All of those areas, there is really very good cooperation. There is a very strong appetite from the Chinese to come and really be part of the experience in the Eastern Cape. To us, it is a demonstration of how we bring those proceeds from the Binational Commission into the provincial space, and we are really working at it.
Now, one thing for me, it was very interesting to listen to the Chinese governors speak about them moving away from the textile industry, because we know that China has the biggest textile industry in the world. And they were saying that they wanted to hone in on different aspects, such as agriculture, such as the mohair industry. And we know that Nelson Mandela Bay and the Eastern Cape, we have a large mohair industry here. So how are they going to be doing that? And just going back to exporting beef to China, how is South Africa going to be, how are we going to do that with the Chinese?
Well, firstly, you know that we have the largest mohair we are largest provincial mohair producing in the country, and to that we have already some of the products in the Chinese market. We're looking just to have that scaled up, which means that for our farmers here, it means more market, more opportunities to access the Chinese market, which is very large, and of course it also feeds the entire globe. So we are through that going to get more access, which means more opportunities and employment for our people here. Regarding the question of beef, certainly it also provides us in the similar way access to a larger market. So the beef products that come from within the province, that through that we shall be able to have more employment here, and as well the products to reach more markets, which means more sustainable employment as well as income. Of course, improving as well in terms of the balance of trade between our country and China. So certainly it is something that we look at it with very, very great anticipation. And of course, we're looking to it expanding even to the other areas. Agriculture, for instance, we've got a huge potential for agricultural development, agro-processing, of course also employing new technologies, because this is an area in which they have they are quite advanced than us in terms of employing, this is the era of the fourth industrial revolution, so we're looking to really piggyback on the skills that they have to improve the lot in our province.
Thank you very much, Premier. That was the Premier of the Eastern Cape, Phumulo Masualle, touching on that Chinese delegation that has descended into Nelson Mandela Bay. He's also signed an MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding, with the Chinese, just on 6 topics, looking at the beef industry as well as the fish industry, and they're going to be exporting more beef and more fish out of the Eastern Cape province. Now, this morning they did the signing, but they will be moving on to the ports, and they are also going to be doing a walkabout in Nelson Mandela Bay, just looking at the investment opportunities that can be done in the future. It's back to you in studio.
Jaylee Paulser coming to us live from Port Elizabeth there. She will keep us updated on that story that's obviously developing throughout the course of the day.